Hi, my name's Nina, and I'm here to read an essay from Ursula Le Guin's book, The Wave in the Mind. It's an absolutely beautiful essay. It deals with language and communication, the difference between machines and humans, and communicating with people who are far away versus people who are close by. And something about the essay, when I read it, it just made me want to read it out loud and share it. So I hope you'll enjoy. In human conversation, in live actual communication between or among human beings, everything transmitted, everything said, is shaped as it is spoken by actual or anticipated response. Live, face-to-face human communication is intersubjective. Intersubjectivity involves a great deal more than the machine-mediated type of stimulus response currently called interactive. It is not stimulus response at all, not a mechanical alternation of pre-coded sending and receiving. Intersubjectivity is mutual. It is a continuous interchange between two consciousnesses. Instead of an alternation of roles between box A and box B, between active subject and passive object, it is a continuous intersubjectivity that goes both ways all the time. There is no adequate model in the physical universe for this operation of consciousness, which is distinctively human and which signals the capacity of human beings to form true communities. So says Walter Ong in Orality and Literacy. My private model for intersubjectivity, or communication by speech or conversation, is amoebas having sex. As you know, amoebas usually reproduce by just quietly going off in a corner and budding, dividing themselves into two amoebas, but sometimes conditions indicate that a little genetic swapping might improve the local crowd, and two of them get together, literally, and reach out to each other and meld their pseudopodia into a little tube or channel connecting them. Thus. Then amoeba A and amoeba B exchange genetic information. That is, they literally give each other inner bits of their bodies via a channel or bridge which is made out of outer bits of their bodies. They hang out for quite a while, sending bits of themselves back and forth, mutually responding each to the other. This is very similar to how people unite themselves and give each other parts of themselves, inner parts, mental, not bodily parts, when they talk and listen. You can see why I use amoeba sex, not human sex, as my analogy. In human heterosex, the bits only go one way. Human heterosex is more like a lecture than a conversation. Amoeba sex is truly mutual because amoebas have no gender and no hierarchy. I have no opinion on whether amoeba sex or human sex is more fun. We might have the edge because we have nerve endings, but who knows? Two amoebas having sex, or two people talking, form a community of two. People are also able to form communities of many through sending and receiving bits of ourselves and others back and forth continually. Through, in other words, talking and listening. Talking and listening are ultimately the same thing. It is literacy that confuses this whole issue of communication by language. I don't want to get into what literacy does to the human mind, though I highly recommend Walter Ong's books on the subject. All I want to emphasize at this point is that literacy is very recent and still not at all universal. Most people during most of the history of mankind have been, and still are, oral and aural people, people who speak and listen. Most people, most of the time, do not put words in writing, do not read, are not read to. They speak and they listen to speech. Long, long after we learned how to talk to each other, millennia or hundreds of millennia later, we learned to write down our words. That was only about 3,500 years ago in certain restricted parts of the world. Writing existed for 3 millennia, important to powerful people, seemingly unimportant to most people. Its use and users spread. Then came printing.